Hello everyone, it's Vike again, and today I'll be showcasing at least my current portion of the Hexeblaumon deck from EX7. And I've been having a lot of fun with the deck just because, it has some really nice control elements, along with the fact that now we can get insanely aggressive, due to the fact that Hexeblaumon innately gets +1 security check, along with the fact that you have other stuff like the new Necropolitan that also gives it just insane damage output, and the new Ice Clad mechanic I also really enjoy. It gives you a different way to interact with Digimon when battling, and I think that's just super neat. And the first game is going to be against the new Shumon deck, and again, I hope you guys enjoy the video. And of course, I just start off with Rookie and Davis to hopefully get a Beast, which I ended up getting my champion, which is good. And they just go promo Shumon, Arisa, and Training, which is still fine enough for us turn. And I don't move up just yet because I don't really think I need to. I really just want extra pieces. I really do want to see the new Hexeblaumon just because that is able to at least bomb deck the Arisas, which is really nice if they have no Digimon with sources. And I could have drawn with the Blue Comon as well, but I also didn't have a second Rookie, so I think it would have been a little bit risky if I brought up early on to get the draw. But of course I didn't, and I think right now it's still a little bit more safe just because now I can kind of build a stack in the back. And I do have the Soul Joe team set up, which is a really good card for the deck just because, again, the memory gain, along with the fact that it can strip 2 sources, so no matter what, a decent stack of Hexeblaumon would basically leave almost the entire board out, plus the Soul Joe, which is, again, a really effective combo. And I'm not exactly sure why they hard slammed the promo Shushumon, because in the end it did give me 2 extra memory from the Soul Joe, but again, I'll still take it. To me, it works to my advantage because having more memory is always a good thing. And I end up going first into the new Beltramon, which is really good because if there's no Digimon with sources out, it gets Jammy and Blocker, which is really nice. And a lot of the new line does have Ice Clad, so again, that's really good because you can block and still be able to win the battle. And now I'm able to gain a memory back and play the Blue Comon, the new one, the Socho. And I unfortunately did not get a new Hexeblaumon. I was really hoping to get it, but it is what it is, and I ended up just going to the old Hexeblaumon. And while it's not a big hitter like the new one is, I think it's still effective enough because that combined with the new Hexeblaumon can make for some really tough situations for your opponent. I still like to run it in the deck just because it is also searchable by the new Blue Comon as well. And I think the EX2 Pale Dramon would have been slightly effective here just because the evolution cost for the Pandamon would have ended up being 4. And you're going to see that they're going to evo into their Central Mod, the EX7 one. So I think them passing me to 4 would be a little bit more effective, at least for me, because again, more memory is better. So again, that's at least one use case. But again, this play wasn't the worst for me in my mind, simply because I was able to just get some damage in, along with being able to get jamming. So I think overall it was fine. And now though, of course, just going to the overclock stuff, they try to target the Hexeblaumon for all the DP minus, but of course it wasn't enough just because it was really only just minus 9k, so they were just shy of like 2k, so just again not enough. So he ends up still living. And of course now I just end up going to 5 simply just because, again, so Joe gives me 2 memory, and I still think it's a really valuable tamer, at least before we get that new Ice Snow tamer in EX8. And now is a pretty good time to just start starting with the Hexeblaumon, and since they still have sources, of course I just want to end up stripping all of them. And now I go to 6, thankfully, because of the original Blue Comon. And I still think it's a pretty useful card to run just because of that, because you do want to strip sources basically almost all the time. And I think the memory gain effect is still pretty useful, especially because a lot of the new Hexeblaumon line still has a lot of the same effects of, you get to trash a card. So having some memory gain here and there is still really useful. And while they were able to free play something thanks to me hitting the security Shushumon, it wasn't really the worst thing, just because again, I think my board is pretty solid and they can't really do much at the moment on their turn regardless, just because they still have one frozen Centralmon. And now I basically try to build up another stack and try to like sort a little bit more, because I'm still probably missing a few pieces here and there. And I do end up grabbing the new Christ by Eldron. Again, I think it's a really good card simply because you're able to just get so much effects off of the inherit. And I don't evo into it at the moment. I pretty much just start slowly building resources in the back with the newest trains, along with just numerous other boosts and stuff, so I can pop off next one as well, just in case if they do end up removing my Hexeblaumon. And I think I'm staying in a fine enough position just because it kind of is a struggle to remove the Hexeblaumon right now, unless they build up another stack and swing into it directly, because again, the old one is still useful in the fact that it can kind of stop stuff from attacking and blocking, which is kind of similar to what the new one does, but not exactly. So I think as a backup, it's a nice stun tool which can come up in handy as well, especially against the Centralmon deck, because they do also play tokens. So again, having another way to stop them from attacking early on with the lower stages, and again the tokens, can still be effective as well. And then they go into the starter deck Chaperonemon, which right now it's able to reach up to minus 6k because there were all enough Digimon on board to do so. So now they could just easily kill off the champion, and you could still 1-0 ace in the deck. So if they kill off that, they're kind of just saying, hey, I don't want to deal with the 0-1 ace just in case. But they obviously hit the Hexeblaumon, I'm guessing to of course swing into it, so then that way they just remove it and are now able to just swing with the other plays as well. And with the Hexeblaumon gone, they can also swing with the Centralmon twice, one right now to easily remove the level 4 I have, and then another time with Overclock. And again, I still think the EX7 Centralmon is still really impactful, only because of the fact that it's my 6k and I can reach a lot of stuff. And of course, sadly, it dies due to hitting a Hexeblaumon that would equal in DP. But I think for the most part, it's kind of okay, just because again they are able to still swing with the rookie and still be able to at least build up slowly. And of course, they go into the starter deck Shushumon, which is able to again overclock and kind of just still be able to swing. So at least they got like an extra check-in. And I think the level 4 also having overclock is really good because you're still able to swing directly with less investment, so that's always good. And sadly it ends up dying, and even if they had the minus 2k inhibit, I don't think it would have been that impactful because it would have made it the same DP. And I do have another Hexeblaumon in my hand, so of course I want to take this opportunity to at the very least go up into my higher stages to of course just get into the Hexeblaumon and also strip some sources, because they at least have the Chaperonemon with the one source under it, so that's always good. And now of course it's just evoing up to get the max value, and thankfully at least this time I can keep tone with my Hexeblaumon, which is really nice. And of course, if they don't have any Digimon with sources, able to bomb deck the Arisa, and now I pretty much just swing over that. I don't believe the deck really wants to hold up aces. They easily could, so if they did, I might have been really screwed depending on what ace it was, but thankfully they didn't have it in this case. So of course I swing over it, able to basically swing for 3 checks into Hexeblaumon and the Quest by Ultramon. And since I do have a Kumamon in hand, that pretty much just is hybrid for game, which you love to see it sometimes. And this next game is going to be against the new Dragonlynx deck, and I still think it's a really fun deck to play just because of the new line being able to get decent draws and soul travel, along with being able to really mess up the opponent with the new megas. And I think the new level 5 is also good because you can use them to help keep torn because of their when digivolving. If your opponent doesn't have a level 5 or higher, you gain 1, so I think that's just really solid. And at worst, I just wish they got a new Hina, but sometimes it is what it is. And I think them playing the Star Deck Hero is also still fine because, again, sometimes some of the buffs are older on your opponent's turn, so being able to swing over stuff, Hero provides that, and I think that's just really solid overall. And with me, I end up just going to my champion and house slamming Solar Joe. I still think no matter the matchup, Solar Joe is a fantastic call just because, say just in case if they just build a really tall stack, while in this case, usually I can strip it on one Evo chain, it's still really impactful and can help just strip random other cards here and there if they decide to build wide enough. And they unfortunately put me the 1, which I'm not able to do a whole lot, and while I do have the boost, I don't want to waste it right now. And the only reason I ended up going to the original Christ by Ultramon was simply because at the moment I only had the original Hexeblaumon, so obviously I wouldn't get the +1 check and piercing from the new Christ by Ultramon, because the old one isn't Ice Snow, unfortunately. And to me, it's still a really big downside that Ice Snow is only more of a recent thing, and I think in the past it's only like 2 Digimon that had the trait, which kind of make the archetypes suffer just because of the fact that, again, we only have 1 new line currently. And I do know that later sets at least give more Ice Snow stuff. Right now it is kind of limited, but I'm at least glad the old Christ by Ultramon kind of works with both Hexeblaumons. And now I finally decide to move up, and I don't waste the train because I don't think I need to at the current moment. And of course, start swinging, start at least stripping some of the sources they do have immediately, so I'm at least able to get the jamming, get the draw, and of course just be able to swing for 2 checks, do some damage right now. And I'm not super worried if they delete the sack, simply because I also have Gomamon in there as well. So then that way they would kind of have to double delete it, which I think is really solid. And I did end up grabbing the Soul Eye just because if they do want to bring it out, the sack in the back, and if they do delete my Hexeblaumon, I'm able to essentially just be able to strip all the sources, and they would pretty much be forced to evo on top of that again somehow. But I don't think there's a lot of like level 7s reds that would make great impact at this current stage, so obviously they don't want to waste it. So again, leaving a sourceless mega can be pretty beneficial for me. And of course they did end up evoing the level 4 into the level 5, which now doesn't trigger Soul Joe, which is always good. And now they essentially just end up evoing into the Volcanic Dramon, the new one, triggering Hina, so that way they can essentially delete the Hexeblaumon so they don't have to see it, because if they did, I would essentially strip almost all those sources from that stack. But thankfully, again, I had Gomamon out, so I'm at least able to kind of distort the board a little bit. And I also do have a second line I can go into, since I do have another level 4 in hand, which is really good. So of course I could just start building up the chain. And again, Gomamon's in here is still really effective, because say if I don't swing with it, which this turn I'm pretty sure I end up not doing that, just because I want to just start stripping a lot of the sources and try to build up into a Hexa so I can bomb deck the Hina, so that way it definitely slows down their game plan quite a bit. And at least thanks to the trains I had out before, I'm able to at the very least give them at least 2 memory with my Hexablow evolution, which again they all going to be set to 3 thanks to the hero, but in the end of the day it's still fine enough, I think, because again just setting them to 3 is fine enough, because now I'm able to just go into the Hexeblaumon and bomb deck the Hina. And especially since the deck kind of relies on it and they only have 4 Hinas in deck, getting the second one on board would be kind of a struggle, because again they have to pay full cost unless they cheat it out. But again, that's kind of difficult to do at the current moment, because they also have Hexeblaumon staring them down, which can be kind of annoying to deal with as well, because at least now they can't really suspend, because they just have all sourceless level 5 and level 6 on the board. And right now it's a pretty dangerous situation for them, because I do have Hexeblaumon with 3 checks, so if they don't deal with it, I can just do that and swing with Goma, assuming the Hexeblaumon lives. I also do have a hybrid, so again I could easily win next turn. And they do end up using Firewall here, which I think was kind of interesting, because maybe they were missing a piece, maybe a Mega, or maybe another Hina. I don't exactly know what, but again, using it here to draw and cycle could be kind of nice just to get that extra piece. And then they end up using Red Memory Boost, which is really unfortunate, because I guess maybe they were missing a different piece. And you're going to see they ended up bomb decking 2 Hinas, which also really sucks. And you're going to see me here pretty much just swing for 3 checks. The Hexeblaumon ends up living all of them, and I just end up hybriding for game. I don't bring out the Goma just in the odd chance they want Crimson Blaze, so that way I can at least swing with the hybrid. And again, I just want to thank you for watching, staying to the end of the video, and if you really enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for my future videos, and of course the future deck list videos.